Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Haley Mitchell Haugen. I'm the editor of Sheila-Na-Gig Online and Sheila-Na-Gig Editions. And tonight we have gathered to celebrate the work of Regina O'Melveny in California and the publication of her a second book with Sheila-Na-Gig, A Good Broom. So some of you may know that Regina, this was the third book that Sheila-Na-Gig published, and Regina won my second contest for manuscripts when I was doing all of that. And when was that? I'm going to look at our date here. Okay, that was before I even knew to put the copyright date in the book. So it says copyright Regina O'Melveny, but I didn't put a date. So this is very early on in my learning of this process. So, but I think it was like 2018, probably. And I was looking through this book earlier today and like, oh, yeah, I do that a little different now. And I changed how I do that, right? It still looks beautiful and it's still a wonderful book. And it came out right before the pandemic got rolling. And so the big book fair in Los Angeles that Regina was planning on attending didn't happen. And so I didn't really get to celebrate this book as much. So if you're not familiar with this one, it's called The Shape of Emptiness. And Regina did the art for both covers, right? Because she is an artist as well. So amazing. And so The Good Broom, we are celebrating with a copyright date and some other updates that I've learned along the way. It's been a learning process. I'm going to read the description of the book and then one of the blurbs to introduce Regina. A Good Broom offers 4 seasons of poetry from a region often overlooked for seasonal change, the City of Angels, Los Angeles. Seasons that spring from the land and elements, as well as the poet's life, intertwine with nature. Seasons where subtle angles of light determine the shadows of the heart, as well as the bright swaths of joy. Seasons that span decades as wild nature teaches the bounty of age, even as it creates the seeds of passage. And it's a blurb from Katja Kathleen Williamson. So picking up any poem by Regina O'Melveny, one is drawn into mysterious relations, the palpable joy of redeeming nature and potent grief. I am particularly moved by her connection to the power of the small and its transformative ability, her words demonstrating how much it has to teach us through these natural and insect worlds are rarely regarded. Through her poems, it is clear that in their domain, which she describes with so much beauty and perception, the remarkable fabric of life does sustain us with wonder. Welcome to Regina and her little black kitty. So great to have you here again.
I guess we have a kitty who likes poetry here. So thank you so much, Haley. And I just want to thank you for all you've done for poets and publishing. Okay, so I'm going to start with the poem, Why I Write. Write, to mend a torn fabric, follow a loose strand of words through ancient forests of memory, dream with eyes open, witness the everyday gift. Dance with bees in their golden chambers, play with infinity humbly, sing the morning, hum afternoon, hold silence under my tongue at night, embrace the sheltering trees of childhood, hold my grandfather's hand, taste my grandmother's lemon meringue, love again, burn rage to ash and ink, breathe beauty and comb the hair of the muses, braid my granddaughter's tangles, kiss the slick frog at the wishing well, welcome the stranger, smell vanilla and chocolate, touch the warp and weft of the mind's constant loom, pray for the wind that clears gray thickets from the heart, listen for questions that have no answers. Thank you. Here's one. Okay. Sounded like we made it through that one, huh? All right, here we go. Come spring, even the woman with gray braids will dance. The winter stark trees I view from the plain's oval pane on descent toward Cork, Ireland, blur to pale green on ascent a week later. A red-tipped green that must be the color Hildegard of Bingen called soul, or the color sweet, stuttering words must be slipping from a young girl's lips. The first time she ever tastes love, or the quick color of everything hidden for months, even years, that greens in bright bursts of faith. How else can I answer the season other than ache for the life I didn't know possible, my ribs growing supple as shoots with each breath, breaking into blossom and leaf, my old heart swelling again, as if I'm that maiden holding hands with the wind, spilling flowers from her tongue. And here's the title poem, A Good Broom. Every morning I sweep the wooden deck by the pond. Every season distinct, every day, moment, the same. Today I wear a large hat and bump my head hard on a low limb as I sweep leaves and tiny avocados that for some reason didn't set on the tree. Yet it yielded more this year than ever, maybe thanks to beehives I set up last fall or the oddly warm winter. Squirrels love even the smallest fruits. Sometimes I sweep up their nests, twigs intertwined with stuffing plucked from our cushions. The wind returns what was stolen, though I don't mind. The squirrels may have all the fluff they want, a gift for their flamboyant feats in the trees. I also consider a gift the branch that whacked my head, made me stop, hold one hand on the stinging bonk, one hand on top of my worthy broom. Though I mean to trim that branch, instead I bend lower and sweep. From now on, I'll bow to the tree. So, as you know, in the introduction, Haley mentioned that I really have liked to pay attention to the small creatures, the insects. Really came from childhood. I was always fascinated by their transformations, not just the butterfly, but all of the insects go through these amazing transformations. I only recently found out that dragonflies can spend up to 7 years underneath the pond, in the pond, as these strange looking monster like creatures. And then they grow wings and they live for a summer. So it's really a fascinating aspect of nature I've always wondered about. This particular poem is about springtails, which you may never have heard of, which I had not until I encountered them. Springtails. When I step out the back door to welcome the rain, I'm stopped by a puddle seething with violet specks on the stairs. What's this? My skin crawls a little. Myriad creatures the size and shape of lavender buds clump together, while outliers on the bode's surface pop like crazy florets or wild seeds springing open. I watch them a long time. What are they doing? Mating or defending rank in the puddle? Clustering for protection, announcing spring, or like me celebrating long-awaited rain? No reason joy can't be universal. After all, I hear the trees in their deep roots thrum, in their leaves exult. I catch the glad scent thrown by pungent wild sage, feel drought recede, a bad memory that no longer shrivels the heart. May we too, in our small puddle, let go dry fears and fling ourselves toward the unknown, with all the marvelous pluck of the small. My homage to the springtails. What am I waiting for? Maybe a celestial hand that plunges from the clouds, touches my shoulder to signify you are good. That old ache for recognition in all the wrong places. Instead, here it is, simple as a pebble at the edge of a lake June thaw. The poem neither good nor bad, intending some question, some honesty, a small heft in the palm, the muse. Even in her absence, I find my workable flaws. What am I waiting for? That may not be the question after all, but the place to which I return, not desperation, but attention. Then I can toss the pebble into the water. Okay, let me read this one about the hawk. This is called The Heft. As I read, under the maples something swoops, shunts wind from its wings, settles on the straw hat I'm wearing. The shadow on the page before me, a large bird with a hooked beak. No sound. I'm motionless, stunned. He dips his head, looks and looks, but can't see me, the warm post beneath him. Is God this light, this heavy, taloned? For weeks, since you almost died, I ponder faith or my lack thereof. Sit zazen, light candles to Saint Beatrice. Even my father's spirit comes from the forest of death to stand beside me. I breathe slowly, weighted with the unknown. When the hawk flies at last, glides down the hill below me, I'm hollowed out by awe. Once the falcon-headed man, god of sky and perpetual return, Horus shone with eyes of sun and moon, the blessing great. Red-eyed, black-capped Cooper's hawk, how can I give thanks for your heft? Send the small birds of my poems to your grasp, their font hearts beating amazed. Or simply release, as my father once taught, when he passed a red-tailed hawk from his wrist to mine, wings a muffled chant as the hawk flew up into an oak. Then my father was gone, but you, my beloved, remain. Spirit teaches silence, brevity, attention. Here, keen-eyed hawk, this small offering. Whenever you want to rest on my head, come, I'll hold still beneath you. I still find it difficult to believe that happened, but it did, and it brought me that poem. Nature will do that for us, just bring us these gifts. Prayer Mountain. Dusk in August hangs like a lantern about to go out, snuffed by silence. For a long moment, none of the shadowy angels that brood hunched on branches of the red fir breathe. This is the moment of blue prayer gone gray, gone stone, mute sap, long thoughts that touch the dark lip of night. Some say angels never close their eyes, but these begin to fall asleep in chant, where they forget the burning gauze of day unraveling. Dreams come with wind and forest rumor. Moss maidens rise from the lakes. Stones tell devotions, count the centuries. Lichens listen. Even ants in their underground halls pause and nod to the mountain. And here, I think I'll share this. This is a COVID poem in 3 parts. I think we are all still kind of feeling some of the repercussions of that time. So I was in the Sierra Mountains when I got sick. Visitations. 1. I want to walk the mountains, my pack spare, heart mind wide open, legs ready, body set for the high places, close to ancestor animals, trees and stones, where later stars will bite like slivers of beauty cast from the night sky. Instead, Queen Corona settles down in my flesh and bone palace, forces me to audience with her clout. I bow to multiplicity, frilled and spiked globes, but her fever scepter laid on my head. I stay in the cabin, disheartened, dizzy, and yearn for mountain paths I see from my porch. The delicious cold lakes. But she has missives for me, unscrolling through blent fatigue, cough, and breathlessness. Every step you take is home, no need for mountain paths. Sleep is sacred, fever a key out of my realm, if you're lucky. For now your body is mine, a bloom of millions that are not you, that are, you are the mountain. 2. As I sit dazed and wait for a healing muse on the porch, under pine light and shadow, my sketchbook open to unfinished watercolors of insects, bumblebees, buckeye, water strider, blue darner, all creatures I've noticed these past malaise days. A brown fleck drifts to the page. At first I think a dry stem, exclamation point size, but no, there's a head and 6 legs. Its thread-thin mouth part drops and probes the page, tasting the art. Or is it predacious on other insects, mistaking image for real? Transfixed, I see I've been waiting for her to paint mystery this small. She's filament thin, dream sheer, yet her gracile girder legs superbly buttress her slightest motion. She's not afraid, though I shift and my shade falls across her. I have no brush this narrow to render antennae, 2-dot eyes and comma wings. Her legs hair strands with tiny knobbed joints. She strides across the page and tastes the watercolor again. Nearby, damp paint pans gleam in the sun, lakes by her measure. No frail visitation, she leaves me at last with a solid love in my belly for things I don't understand. All things equal, a tree, a brush, a stilt bug with a taste for art. 3. Finally, the queen leaves me humbled, dazed by her indifferent glories as she rolls on, seeking other subjects. I'm glad to be alive, to be well enough, though she grants me a cloak of fatigue. Even lightning claps on the granite ridge above the lake that jolt me on my first walk after being laid low can't compare to her wild dominion. The queen simply wants to live and live even as she dies, leaving questions to my jangled mind, while my flora and fauna don't worry over things, but settle at home once more in the dark forests of my body. Okay, I think maybe I have time for a couple more. So this one, though I wrote it many years ago, as probably some of you know, California has fires every so often, and they've been getting worse. Sadly, last year, my daughter and grandchildren lost their home, school, and community, the whole thing. But they are wonderfully resilient, especially the children. So along that vein, I had written this about the flowers that return after fire. They're called fire followers. So that's the title of this poem, Fire Followers. Death camas, stinging lupin, yellow-throated phacelia, all seed in ashes. The first ones to emerge on a fresh burn. I'd like to follow such fierce design, awakened from scorched earth. But I'm the seed that waits out catastrophe deep underground. I've made a life of burrowing, hiding, probing things in the dark. Still, I look to the fire followers, want to cast my hard shell to the flame, break open, even bloom on this troubled gray earth. And let's see. I'm going to finish with a praise poem. In praise of chickens, for my grandchildren who persuaded me to welcome chickens into the garden. Every day I reach into the nest and pull out 2 warm eggs. Nothing can compare with a warm egg in hand. The worldly weight, the fine masonry of the shells, one blue-green, one brown, each housing a sun, a soul, a sac of the unknown, hope yoked to form, tilting toward a commonplace beauty I can hold, not fully comprehending, yet hold in hand humbly, turning the marble round and round as if it were the center of creation, which it is. I thank the hens, and then on impulse, I kiss each egg with plain love for the ordinary and the sacred. Thank you. It
Thank
looks
you.
like we made it through.
I know the internet knew it was time to shape up and respect your work and let you get through that. So I'm glad you did. It's wonderful to hear these poems. And I think as we move into the heat of summer and the bugginess of summer as well, right, it reminds us to stop and look and maybe learn about some things that we haven't heard about before. So that's great. So thank you for this gift of this book, which we are celebrating, A Good Broom by Regina O'Melveny. So thank you so much, Regina.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. So tonight we are also gifted by a room full of Sheila-Na-Gig Editions authors. So we have 5 authors up to share a couple poems from their books or not. New work, doesn't matter. Whatever you want to share with us is great. And moving now from the California beaches to the California high desert, we have Michael Dwayne Smith with us to take it away.
All right. Thank you, Haley, as always. And that's always great to be at a Sheila-Na-Gig event. And of course, thank you, Regina, for that lovely reading. Gorgeous lyricism and meditations on natural beauty. And, I have to say, combined with your lovely readings, it's I want to say like a prayer-like experience that is really quite remarkable. I really enjoyed it. So, all right. So let's see. What do we got for you tonight? I have been working on a chapbook with 2 of my favorite people and poets, Michael Manassian and Linda Goyne, and we're nearly finished with it. So I'm going to read a couple of poems from that to see how bad they are. Let's go over here, make sure I get to the right page so I can see what I'm doing. Here we go. All right, so this first one, I think you'll like the title. So I'll just give you the title and get right into it. All the world's time travelers wanted to hold a convention, but couldn't agree on period or place. Too many chefs in the kitchen, great-grandmother Hattie would say. We called her Nano. I coined the name as a toddler, or so the story goes. That's just one part of a past me that stamped a legacy. Still stamp my feet like he did at the discotheque or a basketball court or our kitchen floor when we've got a good argument going. My wife wins by default, just as written in our vows. A Mariposa County judge officiated at a place and in a time and has since gone to that yet incomprehensible dimension. We grow nearer its precipice. Hattie named her little dog Hay in an act of compression any poet would applaud. I did likewise when I christened her Nano. We made things bigger by naming them smaller. Tonight, I'm calling my death a nap. Okay, there you go. All right, now here's since it is summertime. So this is summertime, and I do like to use a little bit of surrealism. So you'll have to sort of buy into that. So here we go. My wife and I find each other interdimensionally. Done with learning how to fly, I liked learning how to swim, to swallow all the water trying to drown me. Summer's here, angry, and we drive through the mouth of a needle-toothed rattlesnake. Listen to desert cardinals on the radio. What cheer, what cheer, what cheer, what cheer, pretty, pretty, pretty. Well, maybe I would like to fly, and I tell her so. But she's in the middle of a birthday gift in a yard with our grandson, and I must sound like a salesman in her ear's mucky bottom. I could swim down there where she'd hear me, but I'm bare behind a wheel on a road that slithers into the mud hole of time. I did drown once, I say to the bear in my head. I was there, he gruffs. You just want attention. And he's right. So I turn right at the Be Yourself signal, and now she's back, turning the radio sky dial to tune in the sound of crickets reflecting off water. And we notice one another, us becoming each other's birthday cakes, floating like smiles on the lake I died in all those years ago, kicking pupfish out of our way. We, the delicious wounds, wading into it, this wingless truth singing underwater to a deep, genuine person on the other end. Thank you.
Okay, so Wendy McVicker from southeastern Ohio, here in Athens, Ohio. In summer, I have, thank you so much. This is beautiful. You know, Regina, I felt we celebrated the earth so, and the spirit of the earth and of each other with her poems. And then Michael just zooped us off into other realms. So already, what an amazing evening. All right, I'm going to read two poems, and the first one is called How Do We Begin Again? I got to hear Laurie Anderson and John Zorn perform together at the end of March, and oh, it was amazing. And Laurie Anderson did a piece in which she kept repeating, How do we begin again? Which feels like a really crucial question at the moment. So how do we begin again? After the party crashed, after the glass crunched to dust under our feet, after the sun, never fully risen, sets for the last time. What you fear may be the last time. After your hair, carefully curled or straightened, reverts to its natural state, wild or lank. After the sky, after the sky, after the sky falls into darkness and you can't see your hand, as they say, in front of your face. After the robes have fallen from your body, after your bones have fallen from your body, have cracked and melted, your teeth scattered, after the baby who never took a breath is flushed away, after blood, after blood, after blood, how do we begin again? Thank you. I don't think I've read that in, in a group before, so thank you. And then, flying. This is called Origins of Dance. We were birds. We flew in swirling murmurations. We dipped and soared, flashed our feathers in the sun, brushing our feather tips before each other's faces. Beneath us, the restless earth, mountains and lakes, fields of waving grasses. Beneath us, rivers meandering. We were birds, and restless we flew across the sky. We gathered blue at dusk and rained it into the eyes of those who looked up when our shadows swept over them. We were birds, and when we came to earth, we learned to dance. Thank you.
I'm up next, and thank you, Regina, for reading your lovely poems. I mean, now I think I kind of like bugs, so I'll have to look closely at the bugs that come up on my seawall, and they visit my house all the time. I'm just recovering from a cold, so I'm a little bit hoarse, but I'm going to read two poems from the Tide book, which Sheila-Na-Gig published in the fall of 2025. I've got two poems picked out. This one is called The Agreement. Crows' static caws bid their goodnight like radio chatter, and I am tuning in to the day's end. The local flock is heading to their roost, but stop for stale breadcrumbs dotting my porch railing next to the sea. I am set back from the edge on a rickety camel lawn chair in front of my cabin, sitting so still as not to scare away the birds. The evening light fades to crimson as a large raven joins in on the beach below, gathering tumbled bread. This is my ordinary life here, uncaged by office or children, living within the spiral of tide and wind and sea. Time here wavers and flows like a rack line, leaving seaweed piles and threads of fishing line and bits of broken shells. My small cabin is part of this contract of intentional simplicity I've settled for, and this is its fine print. A single black feather from an old crow is shed at my feet, flutters in wind, lifts as if it knows its path, blows across the porch, and drifts toward me. That's basically why I live here, so I can pick up crow feathers and throw bread off my porch right next to the ocean. This second poem is called Retroflection. Press palm to sea, work the ocean, flatten it into a mirror, reflecting the old woman's light back to you. She is ocean, who wants what she wants. You've known this your whole life. She wants your body, your cousin's body, your uncle's body, anyone's body. All these drownings in your family history, too numerous to speak of. She considers them gifts. See her as she really is. Ocean simply wants her broken coral ribs mended, her sea hair combed and braided, a caretaking as old as stories carved on cave walls and etched in stone on a nearby beach. After all, don't you recall her retroflexion, a current turning back on itself? How her hand reached up to yours in Brown Bear Bay, how you leaned over the boat's gunwales. There you were, with your fingertips swirling through flashing green diatoms, resisting the urge to jump in, swim in her liquid light, while above you a meteor left a silver trail across August's black sky. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Emily Patterson. I'm also in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. And I wanted to say your poems are really lovely, Regina. I'm so excited to read your new book, and I love how you took something small and really made it into a meditation. Just so lovely. I published my debut collection with Haley last fall too, which was a wonderful experience. The Birth of Undoing is the title. And I'm going to read a couple of poems tonight that are somewhat newer. Kind of been exploring some nature poetry, eco poetry as well. And the first one is called Self-Portrait as Woman as Forest. There were signs, the leaf fragments that fluttered from my hair to my morning coffee, the crescents of dirt beneath each nail, all the honey I was eating, as if my mouth had become a home for bees, all the words I did not need to say, the way I held quiet in my orbit. I began to drink only rainwater, to crave light, but not with the same desperation. I knew warmth would fade and return, that I didn't need to shine all the time. I let my limbs rest. I changed always. I was alive. And the second one kind of personifies my almost 6-year-old daughter at this point. She's on summer break and just in full full exploratory mode. So this was published in One Art a little ways back, but it is called My Daughter Gives a Master Class on Walking in the Rain. Opt for every puddle. Be kind to fallen leaves. Weave a trail of song along the sidewalk. Feel each drop, cheek, nose, eyelid. Hear them prick the pavement and call it music. Greet the half-petaled sunflowers. Remember where you once saw a dead raccoon. Say you loved that raccoon. Use your pink t-shirt as a tissue. Be the opposite of hurried. Gift your attention to the gift of the world. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you, everybody, and especially Regina. So good to hear you. And I wrote several of your lines down. I love that one. What are you waiting for? And the celestial hand coming down, and many others. Anyway, good job. These are two new ones that I'll be sharing tonight. The first one is called Dancing. Becca calls before I start chemo. She wants to two-step with me. From 1,000 miles away, my hips follow her lead, and we step and turn together with Emmylou Harris's 2 more bottles of wine, erasing 30 years of separation, until we're back in our old kitchen with worn-out carpet and tiny windows, the scent of green chili wafting from the stovetop, back before we found the men who parted us. And the second one is entitled Going Bald. My boss says hair is overrated. People in the future don't have hair. Just watch Star Trek or X-Men. The online beautician says 10 days after your first treatment, your scalp will become tender. Cut your hair to 2 inches. I can't. My neighbor says I'd look cute in a bob with long layers, and I do, for a week. The nurse said I might not go bald, it might just thin. I wish she hadn't said that. Suddenly, it's over. I pull out my favorite hat, a newsboy, black and gray. Buzzing electric shears drop woolly gray curls to the kitchen floor like sheep rovings. In the bathroom mirror, my dead father says, "Not bad," holds me while I cry.
Beautiful, Cheryl. Thank you. You're writing such an important book. We could see these shaping for some others from this collection. So nice to see you find something beautiful out of the process. So great. So we are celebrating Sheila-Na-Gig book authors tonight, and also Regina O'Melveny, one of our most recent, and her work, A Good Broom. So thank you all for being here, sharing your work. I'm very struck with how individual you are, and then when I'm hearing the work, I'm thinking that's a Sheila-Na-Gig poem, that's a Sheila-Na-Gig poem, right? You all come together with a voice that, to me, just really captures everything I've been trying to do here for the last 10 years at Sheila-Na-Gig, and just so honored to have you all, and for those who come back for a second round as well. So thank you all. All right, and if you're enjoying us on YouTube, you can find all of these beautiful folks' books at SheilaNagigblog.com. Thanks, everyone.